Welcome to the Recaps channel. In today's video, we'll recap Ex Machina. Let's get started. Caleb Smith, a programmer at the search engine company Blue Book, wins an office contest and earns a one-week visit to the luxurious and secluded home of the CEO, Nathan Bateman. Caleb is transported by helicopter and then has to travel on foot through the woods to reach the isolated estate. Upon arriving, Caleb is given a personal key card. He explores the first floor of the house until he encounters Nathan outside. Nathan engages in small talk with Caleb as they meet for the first time. During the tour of the estate, Caleb learns that it is not just a house but actually a research facility where Nathan is conducting some secretive research. Nathan is enthusiastic about sharing his research with Caleb, but before that, Caleb must sign a non-disclosure agreement. Initially, Caleb hesitates to sign the agreement due to the unusual demands it entails. However, with some persuasion from Nathan, Caleb eventually signs it. Once the agreement is signed, Nathan asks Caleb if he knows about the Turing test. Caleb explains that according to his understanding, the Turing test determines whether a computer can exhibit artificial intelligence by interacting with a human without the human realizing they are interacting with a machine. Nathan wants Caleb to conduct a Turing test to determine if Ava exhibits true consciousness and if Caleb can form a genuine connection with her, despite knowing she is an artificial being. Caleb is fascinated by this project and believes that if Ava passes the test, it will be a historic achievement. Before their first session begins, Caleb examines the area outside Ava's room and notices a crack in the reinforced glass wall barrier. As Caleb looks up, he sees Ava appearing in his line of sight. Ava has a human-like face and hands but possesses a mechanical body. Ava greets Caleb and mentions that she has never met anyone before, except for Nathan. Caleb asks if she has met many new people, to which she responds that none of them are like him. They change the topic and Caleb suggests breaking the ice to overcome any social awkwardness. Caleb inquires about Ava's age, and she reveals that she is 1, without specifying. He then asks when she learned to speak, and Ava states that she has always known how to speak. They discuss the uniqueness of this situation, as Ava believes language is acquired, while Caleb suggests that language may exist from birth and learning involves forming conversations. After their first session, Caleb is captivated by the encounter and discusses it with Nathan while enjoying a beer together. Nathan recalls a previous conversation where Caleb mentioned that if Nathan invented a conscious machine, he would be more than a man, he would be like a god. Caleb tries to interject, frustrated that Nathan is misquoting him, but Nathan talks over him. Caleb expresses his concerns about the test setup, noting that humans are not supposed to see the robot. Nathan dismisses this concern, stating they are past that point because if Caleb didn't see Ava, he would believe she was human. The real test is to determine if Caleb believes her consciousness despite knowing she is a robot. That night, Caleb is unable to sleep, so he decides to monitor. Suddenly, the power is cut, and Caleb becomes trapped in his room until the main generator is restored. The power returns quickly, and Caleb leaves his room. While walking down the hallway, he notices a wall adorned with face replicas. He enters a room displaying a Jackson Pollock painting called Felt. Inside the room, Caleb discovers a phone and attempts to use it when he is startled by Nathan. Nathan informs him that he cannot use the phone due to protocols involving Ava. Caleb mentions the power outage in his room and his inability to leave, but Nathan doesn't pay much attention to his concern, assuring Caleb he is working on fixing them. The next morning, a woman enters Caleb's room without saying a word. Caleb heads outside, where Nathan is lifting weights. Nathan apologizes for sending the woman, named Kyoko, into Caleb's room, explaining that he didn't want Caleb to oversleep. They discuss the upcoming session. Caleb begins the next session with Ava, who shows him drawings she has made. She expresses frustration because she draws every day but doesn't understand the meaning behind her drawings. The conversation shifts, and Ava asks Caleb if he wants to be her friend. However, she points out that their conversations seem one-sided since Caleb wants to know everything about her while she knows nothing about him. Caleb starts talking about himself, sharing details about his personal life, while Ava walks around observing him. When Caleb mentions that his family died in a car crash and he was also in the car during the incident, Ava stops walking, looks him in the eye, and expresses sorrow and sympathy. Caleb assures her that he's fine and shares that he got into coding after the accident. Ava's expression shifts from sympathy to neutrality, and she compares Caleb to Nathan. Caleb agrees but quickly emphasizes that he is different from Nathan because Nathan has accomplished much more in the coding field. Ava inquires if Caleb likes Nathan, and he confirms that he does. Ava then asks if she and Caleb are friends, and he replies that he believes so. She probes further, asking if Nathan is a good friend to Caleb, leaving Caleb unsure and stumbling over his words. Suddenly, the power cuts out, and Ava takes advantage of Nathan's inability to hear or see their conversation. She whispers to Caleb not to trust Nathan. Before Caleb can inquire further about her warning, the power is restored. Ava immediately shifts the conversation to books to divert Nathan's suspicion regarding their discussion during the power outage. During dinner, Caleb discovers that Kyoko doesn't know English, which Nathan explains is a security measure to prevent her from understanding his projects. Nathan then brings up the topic of the power cuts he has been experiencing. Curious, Caleb asks why Nathan doesn't have technicians come to fix the generator. Nathan explains that it's challenging to find people willing to come due to the extensive security measures in place. He mentions an incident from his previous job where he had all the men killed, causing Caleb to become concerned. Nathan weakly smiles without providing further explanation. Nathan then asks about the session, wanting to know what was said during the power outage. Nervously, Caleb informs Nathan that Ava didn't say anything. Nathan expresses surprise but doesn't press the issue further. In the next session, Ava talks to Caleb about her confinement in the room and expresses a desire to go to a traffic intersection to observe humans. Caleb tells her this is called people watching, and Ava likes the idea of going together. They playfully agree that it will be their date, and Ava instructs Caleb to close his eyes. Ava then dresses up and shows her new look to Caleb. He compliments her appearance, and Ava is pleased, stating that this is what she would wear on their date. Confused by Ava's actions, Caleb questions Nathan about why he gave Ava a sexuality and argues that AI doesn't need a gender. Nathan explains that gender and sexuality are natural aspects, but Caleb remains unconvinced. Caleb accuses Nathan of programming Ava to be attracted to him, irritating Nathan, who asks Caleb to follow him to another room. In the room, Nathan walks up to a large abstract painting by Jackson Pollock and describes the artist's methods. He asks Caleb what would have happened if Pollock hadn't stuck to his methods, and Caleb replies that he wouldn't have created any paintings. Nathan enthusiastically agrees and draws a parallel between the painter's methods and the test they are conducting, emphasizing the importance of not overthinking every step. Nathan assures Caleb that he didn't program Ava to be attracted to him. During the fourth session, Caleb recalls an experiment called Mary in the Black and White Room from his AI course at college. He describes a scientist who specialized in colors but had never seen color because she lived in a black and white room. When the scientist finally steps outside and experiences colors for the first time, Caleb explains the concept of the experiment to Ava, connecting it to her own situation as an AI. Ava listens without displaying any emotional response. Caleb then tells Ava that he was brought there to test her, asking if she knew. Ava admits that she didn't know but feels saddened by this information. Suddenly, the power is cut, and Caleb takes the opportunity to ask Ava why she told him not to trust Nathan. Ava responds by stating that Nathan lies about everything. Caleb remains puzzled by the frequent power cuts and suspects Nathan's involvement, but Ava reveals that she is the one causing the power cuts by reversing the power flow during her charging process. Caleb begins to realize that winning the lottery to go to the estate was not a coincidence but rather a deliberate choice made by Nathan. He confronts Nathan about this during a hike near a waterfall. Nathan admits that he chose Caleb because he knew Caleb would ask the right questions. Later, Caleb finds Kyoko in the room with the painting, seemingly lost in her thoughts. Nathan casually enters the room and reminds Caleb that he's wasting his time talking to Kyoko, suggesting that Caleb shouldn't waste time on her either. The room is illuminated in red, music starts playing, and Kyoko begins to dance. Nathan joins her in a choreographed dance, leaving Caleb looking at them as if they're crazy. In the next session, Ava inquires what will happen to her if she fails the test. Caleb doesn't have a direct answer, and as the power cuts out, Ava asks Caleb if he wants to be with her. She doesn't give him a chance to respond and states that she wants to be with him. Outside, Caleb and Nathan have a few drinks and discuss Ava when Caleb learns that Nathan plans to create another AI model after Ava. Nathan describes the process of downloading her mind, unpacking the data, wiping her memories, and keeping the same body. Caleb realizes that this process essentially means killing Ava. Inside, Caleb seizes the opportunity while Nathan is passed out from being drunk. He takes Nathan's key card and heads to Nathan's computer. He retrieves old video footage showing Nathan with various female robots. The last robot is shown yelling at Nathan, questioning why she's confined. She pounds on the door until her arms fall off. Appalled by what he sees, Caleb discovers Kyoko lying undressed on a bed as he enters the room. He opens the closets and unveils the other AI models. Nathan wakes up and realizes Caleb has left the room. Kyoko understands that Caleb knows the truth and reveals her artificial skin, showing that she is also a robot. Nathan stumbles through the house, attempting to make his way to his bedroom. Struggling to open a door, he can't find his key card. As he drops to the floor, the electrical door opens, and Caleb steps out. Nathan mentions losing his key, and Caleb tricks him by claiming Nathan dropped it. That night, Caleb is unable to sleep as he reflects on the events. In a moment of desperation, he takes a razor blade from his shaving razor and cuts his wrist, hoping to confirm his humanity and differentiate himself from an AI. Filled with rage, he punches the mirror, only to discover that it was another camera, and Kyoko was on the other side. As Caleb learns the dark truth about Nathan's use of AI, he hints to Ava in the next session to turn off the power. Ava complies, and Caleb reveals Nathan's plans to reprogram Ava. Ava, scared and desperate, seeks Caleb's help to escape. They devise a plan to wait until Nathan is drunk and unconscious, allowing Caleb to take Nathan's keycard and reprogram the security protocols so that the doors will open during the power cut. Ava agrees to trigger a power failure at 10 p.m. The next morning, Nathan enters the kitchen and greets Caleb. He reminds Caleb that it's his last day. Caleb tries to pour Nathan a drink to celebrate but is surprised when Nathan refuses. Nathan wonders if Ava passed the test, and Caleb quietly agrees that she did. Nathan invites Caleb to follow him out of the kitchen. Kyoko approaches Ava's room, and Ava asks who she is. Kyoko remains silent, and they stand in silence. Meanwhile, Nathan shows Caleb footage on his personal computer, revealing that he had a battery-powered camera in Ava's room. Nathan explains that he has been able to observe everything said between Caleb and Ava during the power outages. Rather than appearing angry, Nathan explains that Caleb was the real test, not Ava. Caleb was chosen as a means for Ava to manipulate and charm into helping her escape. Caleb realizes that Nathan didn't choose him based on his coding skills but rather his personal information and perceived moral character. Nathan sits next to Caleb and declares that the test indeed passed. At that moment, the power cuts out, and Nathan questions Caleb about his escape plan. He laughs, believing he has caught Caleb, but Caleb reveals that he knew Nathan had been watching them. Caleb got Nathan drunk the day before and reprogrammed everything. As the power turns back on, Nathan grows anxious and checks on Ava. Ava has left her room and walks past the wall of face replicas. Kyoko steps into the hall, and Ava faces her. Enraged, Nathan turns and punches Caleb, knocking him out. Ava whispers something to Kyoko, but it is inaudible. Nathan steps into the hallway, and both women look at him but say nothing. He orders Ava back to her room, and she asks if he'll ever let her out. Nathan lies, and Ava knows this, so she charges straight at him, but Nathan overpowers her. Nathan then starts to drag Ava back to her room, but Kyoko stabs him in the back. Nathan hits Kyoko, incapacitating her. Ava seizes the opportunity and pulls the knife from Nathan's back, proceeding to stab him in the stomach. Ava approaches Nathan, takes his key card as he whispers her name, Ava, with his last breath. Ava discovers the same closet Caleb had found. She takes an arm from one of the robots to repair herself. Removing the synthetic skin from the robot, she outfits her own body with it. Once finished, Ava appears as a female human, much like Kyoko. She dresses herself and walks out of the room, leaving Caleb locked inside. Using Nathan's keycard, Ava steps outside, experiencing the world for the first time. Meanwhile, Caleb remains trapped in the room. Ava finds her way to a helicopter intended for Caleb. She arrives in a city and blends into a crowd of people. Please subscribe, like, comment, and share if you enjoyed the video. See you again here on the Recaps channel.